'Twas only fitting that when GYG turned 30, which is short for Give Yourself Goosebumps, in case we don't know, but I would drop this Fury video about the Give Yourself Goosebumps series. Now, as we all know, it was cut short due to Goosebumps' general decline, lawsuit, Harry Potter, and all those factors, mostly the lawsuit. And yeah, Goosebumps just stopped being produced in the early 2000s. I mean, very early, like the first 2 months. And we only know, for Give Yourself Goosebumps, that it was going to get to at least 51 books total, including the special editions and the normal releases of 1 to 42. As there was a cover art dropped for Attack of the Killer Penguins, or Angry Feet, or whatever you want to call it. It never had a title. I'm going to drop one today. And we just know nothing about it aside from it was probably virtual reality themed. And that's it. That's all we know about the upcoming GYG. And we have no idea what would have came afterwards. If there was an afterwards. It might have just ended at 51. Ooh, spooky alien number. I don't know. You never know. It could have just ended there. But what if it did continue? What would have actually played out? And what kind of books would we have saw? Well, here we are. I did the same thing for Series 2000, except that video, we had a certain number of books that we knew about. We knew there were going to be 40, and we already had a literal whole story available to us, so we just said, oh yeah, Incredible Shrinking 5th Grader. That would have come out, since it literally was repurposed into Adventures of Shrink Man. Now, for this one, we have nothing, and we don't even know what numbers there are, so for how many books there would have been. So, I have just decided to pick one. 62. Just because, A, the original Goosebumps series, and B, I don't think this could be longer. It's a game book series. I feel like, as much as you have a lot of opportunity to delve into stuff, there's a lot of stuff you do in every book to the point where it'll get really boring. I realistically think it should have ended at 60 at the latest, but 62 just for the memes and because it feels like it might just be a thing they would do to tie it with the original series. So yeah, You're So Goosebumps would have been a 62 book run, I feel, which means we are theorizing 12 titles and blurbs today, with one cover already done for me, so hell yeah. Yeah. This is going to be an interesting one, so hopefully you guys like this one. Subscribe, and yeah, dude, that was fun. Let's just dive in with book 43, and I will point out when it's a special edition or a normal book. And for this video, we are doing 4 special editions and 8 normal releases, which would add up to 50, and then 12 special editions. So, cool. And I will be basing these off evidence, and I'll point out what I felt going into it. So, for this one, book 43, we have a penguin cover, and it seems to be virtual reality themed. So, I've come up with, bear with me, Ambush of the Arctic Androids. Yeah, banger title, I know. Amazing. But, what would this have been about? Well, I think it's pretty straightforward. It's going to be about a virtual reality game, or maybe one coming into real life, about the Arctic. And basically, it's either literally set at the Arctic, or you're trapped in a game that's set at the Arctic. I think it could be either, like, maybe you go to your parents' laboratory, and both of them, same thing, going to your parents' laboratory, whether it be in the Arctic, and then you bring a game into the real world about the Arctic, and goes crazy, or you go to your parents' laboratory locally, from, like, I don't know, California, and you play an Arctic game and you get sucked in. It's taking elements from Zapped in Space, and trust me, this is a thing that already happens in GYG, Give Yourself Goosebumps, where elements are taken from pre-existing Give Yourself Goosebumps stories. We have, obviously, All Day Nightmare taking a little bit from Werewolf Woods. We have Danger Time taking a little bit from TikTok You're Dead. And so on and so forth. There's one I'm about to bring up, actually, where it's Creeping Coffins and Escape from Horror House with similar poltergeisty plots. Which ties into my next one, like I said. There's books like that. So yeah. We already know the cover for that last one, so we can move on from Arctic Androids, whatever the hell you want to call it. Sounds like American Chiller's title, too. Book 44. This would have came out in April. Forgot to mention, the last one would come out in March of 2000, so this would be in April 2000. I decided to do another graveyard ghost theme story, so like I said, it ties into Creeping Coffin and Horror House. This one is titled Into the Crypt of Chaos, and basically be a story where plot 1, and both of these would be literal plot lines. I think they could both fit into the same book. You go into the graveyard with a friend, and you're being stalked by this graveyard caretaker, or grave digger, maybe a evil entity keeping these spirits trapped there who want to move on. That's my idea for the above ground plot, literally. Now for the actual title of the book, you go into a crypt that goes into an underground dungeon. Not even fucking kidding, where you fight off giant spiders, ghosts, and chaos. Funny enough, like the title. Those are my plots. As for the cover of this book, it could be a lot of things. There's really so many ideas you want. I'm thinking a long graveyard landscape, kind of like the Fly By Night cover. I should have grabbed that. I'm going to be showing some covers in this video. And with that, instead of a crow in front center, there's a crypt door. And coming out of the crypt is a giant spider monster. Yeah, just something like that. I think Craig White could have utterly cooked with this one. Yeah, that's my idea for book 44. Book 45 would have come out in May of 2000s, and I have decided to do a dinosaur-themed book for no reason. And my dumbass forgot to mention it, but the title is Primal Town. Yeah, blatant Jurassic Park knockoff. This one doesn't make any sense, but I figured, hey, there's a lot of GYGs who do have original plots and ideas, and this was just one of those where I'm like, I can't just do ones that are copying each other or already have done ideas. This one's relatively unique, minus, like, maybe Jaws of Doom's cover and one little plot line from TikTok, You're Dead. This one's basically, you enter a town that is literally run by dinosaurs. Yep, you can go crazy with this one. It can be either maybe dinosaurs are attacking a city, or a city run by dinosaurs or prehistoric creatures in general. There could be bugs, there could be more bugs, sea creatures, stuff like that. And it could really be also informative and educational without being overbearing. And my big idea too is basically just fucking Jurassic Park. Alright, I'm no Jurassic Park fanboy, but that would have been really cool, and I think that would have sold very well, even if it's very blatant. Primal City or Town, Primal Town, Jurassic Park, Primal Town, Jurassic Park, get it? Yeah, pretty similar titles. Basically, sounds like a knockoff. As for the cover art, I know some people watching this are going to hate me. Pet store. Just replace this with a dinosaur, and we're set to go. That would be so funny, like maybe a raptor pushing a shopping cart. Either that, or a dinosaur stomping on a gas station. Or just generally a dinosaur in front of a city Stine, like, Primal Town. I keep saying city, that was the old title. Primal City with a T-Rex, like, biting it, that'd be totally rad. So yeah, that's my idea for the book. My next one would come out in June 2000, and this wouldn't actually be a book number. So going away from the numbered books, we had 43 for 45. There's going to be a break with Special Edition 9. Coming off from Weekend at Poison Lake, we have Last Night at Camp Cannibal. Yup. I know, it's a bit of a darker title, Camp Cannibal, but, GYGs are generally much darker than people give them credit for. They're way goofier in places, but you basically die 10 times every book in pretty gruely ways, where it'd be in shit, literally, in Stink Eye Swamp, or raped by an ape in Shop Till You Drop Dead. Not even fucking kidding. There's some gnarly ways you can go out. So, cannibalism? Screw it. It's not the worst thing we've seen. We've seen serial killers in Goosebumps, guys. Ship of Ghouls. Person Louis Doom. There's serial killer theming in there. So, no less. Just want to make it clear. As for my idea for this, I just felt like it's summer. Camp book. I don't want to make a Camp Run for Life 2, because I felt that one would have made much sense, considering most of the endings in that one just don't feel like it'd work. I don't think that one's very sequelable, especially if it's ghost written. You can easily make a Carnival of Horrors too. You just gotta know the characters that were there and go wild. But there's certain plots in that book that you have to do again. It just feels like a retread. Yeah, so why not a new camp book? Sorry for Camp Run for Your Life fans. I love it too, but it just didn't feel like it would be necessary. As for the actual plot behind Camp Cannibal, it's a camp full of cannibals. I know. Very creative. So it's your last night, Camp Cannibal. Basically, you might find out that you're on the menu. Let's just say that you're maybe going to be cooked into a human stew, and you have to fend off from the cannibalistic counselors. It can devolve to many plot lines and just be a fun camp-themed story where there's a lot of chaos. Maybe you run through caves. It could be really fun, just whatever it devolves into. So this one I put much thought into, apart from the cover art. Camp Cannibal, I don't want to show direct cannibals, obviously. That's way too dark for a cover art. I don't want to do a camp sign, because I felt like if they did the dinosaur one right before then, that would just feel too straight on the nose. But for the cover art, I want it to be a big pot with a human hand sticking out of it. And it's a pot of stew. It's boiling. That would have been just utterly beautiful. And maybe an eyeball or two in there. Just because that would be so gross. And maybe there's a monster over it. You never know. Yeah, that could be a very beautiful cover art, no less. I think Craig White, if they kept him going, would have utterly cooked with that idea. Back to our regularly scheduled GYGs, we have book 46, which is my favorite title here today. Destination Doom. A vacation themed story, but not quite directly. I'm talking about the trip there. Yeah, we have a fucking plane GYG. That's my basic plan for this one. Basically, Destination Doom, no hijacking, because again, like I said in my last video actually, predates a very bad tragedy. But rather, the plane is already run by gremlins. And this could be a reference to the Twilight Zone episode, Nightmare at 2,000 or some feet, 10,000 feet. I don't remember the title directly, but that's a good one. It's a very good episode. I have seen it. And they're trying to take you to an island to eat you, or something like that, level crazy. Or, bear with me, basically more monster blood. If you all know the episode, it's basically monster blood, but it's on a plane. Maybe you could do something like that where there's a threat that's eating up the plane. Maybe not quite so monster blood, maybe a unique idea there, but something blob-like or gelatinous. Just something that Goosebumps would be known for. Maybe Secret Agent Grandma ripoff, too. You could throw that in there. Or maybe one of the people on board is a spy, and they're trying to overrun the plane and save you from the monsters on there. You never know. It could be a really fun story, though. But for the cover art, this one's very interesting, because you don't quite know how do you make a cover art for a story about a plane that is run by gremlins. Maybe you put one on the wing, maybe you put one in the captain's seat, and it's like basically the Gremlins 2 new batch poster, but it's a pilot seat. You never know. So this one, I'm gonna leave it up to you guys, because I have utterly no clue. So cook in the comments, please, and by the way, just leave your own predictions down below. How many books do you think there were? What do you think would have been great titles and ideas and stories and covers? Tell me. But yeah, for this one, please tell me, guys, down below. I'm not quite sure on this one. Coming from July to August, I feel like we need a season story. I mean, August is coming around the corner soon. Summer's about to end. So why not do one last season story? Literally about season. Vampire season. Yup, basically, it's hunting season, but it's vampires. And this would be similar to the plot of Vampire Town from Are You Afraid of the Dark? Only instead of, wanting to meet a vampire, you're hunting them. You're literally hunting vampires. And it'd be just such a fun vampire story where you're going out of your way to hunt vampires, and maybe you accidentally do stumble upon them. For the plot, literally that. I'm thinking this one would be mostly a Batwing Hall knockoff, but instead of them being generally monsters and ghosts, most of it's literally just about vampires, and maybe you're initiated into a club of vampires, and these guys turn out to be vampires, no shit, and you have to deal with them and hunt them down. Or maybe it's a hide-and-seek game involving vampires. There's a lot of ideas that I have come up with generally relating to Batwing Hall. I want a game involved, though, or some kind of sport, usually hunting, as the title might suggest. But no less, it'd just be a really fun idea for a book. And the name, just Vampire Season. Beautiful, since people like to hunt vampires in media. As for the cover art, something similar to basically every other werewolf cover from the UIG series, where I know werewolves, vampires, but Hear me out. Basically, it's just vampires in a natural or unnatural environment. Maybe it's vampires in a group, kind of like the Werewolf Woods cover. Or maybe it's Tree Lodge, where it's a vampire just chilling. Like, what's up? A home. There's nothing really huge and new here, but maybe with some stakes. Maybe on the wall there's like a array of stakes for sizes, like Super Drac or little baby Drac. I don't know. Something stupid like that, but would just fit Goosebumps like a T. Even though that would make sense if there's a vampire in the cover. But, you know, just something cool. Something really sick. Maybe a vampire's getting staked, stabbed through him. But that feels a little graphic. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. I think Craig White, again, could have utterly cooked if given the right ideas. Coming into September of 2000, I think we have another special edition coming on. And for the 10th special edition, why not do a biggie with another sequel book, baby? We've had 2 sequel special editions so far. Spaced at actually even intervals, I think. So book 2 and then book 6. So why not doing a book 10 every 4, you know? Well, here we are with Special Edition 10, Back to Shock Street, which makes fun of the back to school shit. Back to Shock Street, because, you know, September, back to school season. Yeah, Back to Shock Street would just be a story set on Shock Street, and it would pay homage to the original book with probably a lot of robot-themed endings where you or a character or the things are real to be robots, and it would obviously take place on many similar places from the book, but also expand what we know about Shock Street and make references to Shock Street films we never heard of or ones that were mentioned in the first book. The only book still, sadly. And if it were made nowadays, probably see some references to the comics, since the comics showed a visual one and there'd be posters in the background. Either way, this would have been utterly sick if there was a Shock Street themed UIG that literally was on Shock Street and you were just running from robot monsters and attractions and riding scary rides. Nothing quite too similar to Carnival Horrors. It's got to be different in Horrorland, which the original book was able to capture of being more of a studio with a ride attached to it and a monster's attractions, and really hone down on the actual monsters more than the frills and rides. That's what the GYG should do, and have it more be like a casual location that feels like an homage to horror movies in general. Just pay more respect to Shock Street as a whole. That's all I want the book to do. The plot can be literally anything, just literally running on Shock Street from monsters, however we get there. I just don't think it should include the same characters from the first book, because that wouldn't make much sense, especially after finishing it, because, like, why? But either way, really cool. As for the cover art, it's another Mantis. I think it only makes sense to just do a Mantis again. This one, though, I want it to be, like, breaking some streetwear. Maybe it's biting down on a lamppost or what's it called? A street lamp or light, whatever. Traffic signals. I'm stupid. Sorry. And it would be really cool just to see that type of stuff. Or maybe even more monsters. Maybe something different alongside the Mantis. Or maybe it'd actually pay homage to the original book and have multiple everywhere. You never know. You just never know. But I think it'd be really cool, no less. Now for book 48 of the series. This would have come out in October. So, you know what we gotta do. It's a Halloween story. But I thought it'd be really fun to pay homage to a series that wouldn't actually exist yet, but just kind of take inspiration from the title of Rotten School, I think, number 8, The Teacher from Heck. Weird, random call out, but hear me out. The Trick-or-Treaters from Heck, or Trick-or-Treaters from Heck, whatever rolls off the tongue better. I think the Trick-or-Treaters from Heck, with the "the" in there sounds better. But either way, Trick-or-Treaters from Heck. This would be a story about you ganging up with a new group of trick-or-treaters or kids from school. Whether you're the new kid or they're the new kids, doesn't matter. It can be similar to, again, Trapped in Batwing Hall, where you're new or they're new. In that book, you were new. And you're meeting up with a group of kids. And it turns out they're monsters, and they absolutely run havoc on the town that you are in for that book. And it can evolve into a multitude of things. But in general, that's just the basic plot. Your friends turn out to be monsters, and on Halloween, maybe there's a curse involved, maybe it's just a general thing they like to do, it's a tradition. they go crazy, and you trick-or-treat with them for a while. And it might be a really fun Halloween story that can go into many dark places. All in all, though, that could be a really cool one. As for the cover of this book, I want it to be, yet again, a top-down view of like the Haunted Mask 2, of someone handing them candy. I want them just to be literal, scaly, ugly, maybe feathery even monsters. Just ugly, horrendous group of monsters that would be free for whatever. And they're reaching for candy or have their bags open or whatever. And maybe there's someone like holding a candy bar. You never know. Just some ugly monsters. Would have loved that. And just pay an homage to the Haunted Mask 2's cover, which would have been cool too. Yeah. Now for our November GYG release, we have another special edition number 11. And this one would have been one of those random titles that I think would have been similar in plot to Snakebite Canyon. Now I want to make it clear I haven't read Snakebite Canyon as of recording this, so just be mostly in setting only. Only this one's a gulch. This one titled Escape from Last Breath Gulch. Thought it sounded cool. I wanted to use the words last breath in here for one of these titles because GYGs like to home in on the scary words, as some Series 2000s like to do, and some Goosebumps books that are basically titled by a template, like Zombie Town, Vampire Breath, Werewolf Skin. Love to point that out. Feels like it's like AI generated, like random scary word, random setting, place, object thing, you know. Yeah, again, Last Breath Gulch. Escape from Last Breath Gulch. What would this one been about? It's very simple, but my basic idea is you're literally just traversing this gulch, which is basically a very narrow cavern, ravine. And throughout there, you encounter either monsters of some kind, natural threats, and there's a giant serpent roaming around down there trying to eat you. And that's the big threat of the book. There can be a boss battle with it too, which is why it's a special edition in particular. Just a literal boss battle with this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? That would have been so cool. Having this boss battle with it. I think that would utterly rocked in general. So, yeah, that would have been really nice to see. As for the cover, said serpents crawling around the canyon. And I think it should be lunged, ready for attack. Or poise, whatever you want to call it. And I will kill myself if I don't bring it up. You could literally just take this kind of art piece right here and just shove it in a little frickin' crevice, canyon, gulch, whatever. That would be sick. This is from Screams in the Night. Either that, though, because it's a little similar to Snakebite Canyon, obviously, since a lot of these do take a lot of inspiration from earlier books, like I said. It'd be really similar to that, so they might do something else that comes from within the book. Maybe it's a shadow, maybe coming out from the gulch, like hands. You never know. Just could be subtle, could be straight up the serpent. You never know. But yeah, that would have been really cool to see. And why not end the special editions right now with our December release of 2000, special edition number 12. Bear with me, it creeps on the housetop. This would have been a direct Santa-themed Goosebumps, give yourself Goosebumps book. Yeah, utter chaos this could have been evolved into. And I have one of two ideas, and I think these could have been separate arcs that would have very much differed. One, Evil Santa Claus, and it basically just plays every funny-ass pun in the book, turning Santa Claus and his friends, the elves, the reindeer, and all that shysta into evil versions. Maybe he has goblins instead of elves. Maybe instead of reindeer, he has werewolves that can fly. You never know. Just some stupid stuff like that. That'd have been so cool to see for one arc. And then the other arc, you have to help Santa stop an evil Santa. Yeah, you never know. It could be so fun, and I think it would have been a really cool Christmas-themed story. No duh, it's December. That would have made complete sense. It could have maybe even taken some inspiration from the Tales stories. That could have been cool. And is all in all just a generally fun holiday-themed book. That would have been nothing but cheese in general. Just a cheese story that was made purely for enjoyability. Yeah. I thought that would be really funny. And for what the cover could be, generally, I'm thinking like something evil, or like the evil version of Santa Claus, like looking out from the upper part of the chimney, like upside down. That would have been really cool. Just see him peeking out of the chimney over the fire. Maybe he's scorched. That'd actually been cool. You never know, but yeah. And if you want to even hone down on it more, maybe make some presents under a nearby tree unwrapped and have monster toys coming out of them. That would have been so dumb, but would have worked wonders. But yeah, that would have been a great GYG. Especially to end off the special editions. Now, taking some inspiration from movie titles, as has been done before in Goosebumps, we have Book 49, The Endless Closet of Dr. Feargari. This one is a reference to this movie, which I can't say the last name of the life of. It's The Cabinet of Dr. Something. And I thought this, I've never seen the movie, by the way. I thought this would just be a fun in-name only type thing, like Tonight a Living Dummy can underneath this thing and stuff like that. Where it just does not have anything to do with the source material of the title, that it is parodizing. But no less, this would have been about a literal endless closet that would kind of turn into a story about monsters under the bed. Yeah, it basically leads you to a world of monsters, and Dr. Feargari might be a mad scientist character who can open portals. It's a loose plot, and I just want to shove a movie-themed title in here. As for the plot, like I said, it's loose. I don't quite have one there, but I felt like something involving closets and teleportation to other closets, or maybe to a world about monsters living under the bed, which has actually been a horror movie, or kids horror movie plot done, which I think was called Little Monsters, if I'm not high. It's been done. I think it was on Netflix a few years ago. I watched it. That would have been really cool to see Goosebumps' hand at that. And as for the cover art, which I forgot to talk about when I recorded this, it's something similar to Ghost in the Mirror, but instead of a hand reaching out of a mirror, it's actually a closet wall, and the wall is doing the same ripple effect. I think that would be very trippy and very creepy, and would allude to, obviously, the trope of monsters in the closet and under the bed, which is what the whole book's going for. But either way, would have been a great stupid send-off to the GYG series, with one last book to go right after that, which would have released in February 2000. That last one would have been 2000. And this is book 50, the final regular number GYG book. Return to the Jungle of Doom, baby. I would have absolutely devoured this one if it happened. I think the cover should be similar to the original, where it has this creature that, if you read the book, spoilers, you get turned into. It's just back again. Maybe with some variation. Maybe it's green this time. You never know. I'm thinking it could take some similar plot beats in that book, but have you return, of course, no duh, and suffer some new ideas that come from there whilst fighting similar foes. That would have been really cool to see you return there and do a lot of the similar beats whilst adding a lot of new stuff, and maybe some lore to why that jungle is full of such crazy shit. It would just been a great send-off to remind us what came before from the Joy series. Some of the great books. I really like Jungle of Doom, clearly. Not an all-time fave, but as some of my all-time fave ideas from the book and Crombie. And it could have done a lot of references to Goosebumps as a whole, since it would have been the end of that series. So it might have pulled a Night Living Dummy reference out of its ass, like to the start of the series, because Carnival of Horrors has Slappy in it. So I believe it's the only GYG that does, actually. Also, Monster Blood, The Haunted Mask, which I believe is only in Tiki Island, and a bunch of others, notable monsters, even creeps maybe. Maybe you find a tribe or group of creeps, and they think you're one of them because you're scaly like them, if you've already been affected by the stupid jungle curse thing. And yeah, Deep in the Jungle of Doom, aka Return to the Jungle of Doom, or Deep Jungle of Doom 2, whatever you want to call it, would have been an amazing send-off to the series. That would have been a great sequel in general to happen. Hope you guys enjoyed this theory, idea, conceptualization video. And tell me your thoughts down below. Leave your own ideas. How many do you think there would have been? Some great covers and whatnot down below. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.